Hello, I'm Julia. Welcome to my garden. I've just been away for a week. Phil and I have just been away for a week in Scotland, and the gardens I wanted to show you before I start tidying up properly. There's some good, there's some bad, there's some ugly, there's some blinking amazing, and there's some tragedy. Okay, so where shall we start? Let's start with some of the good, shall we? So we'll mosey along here. A couple of goods actually along here. One of them is the sweet peas. I've got nuts. So 1 week ago, before I went away, I picked every single flower, and I've come back to this. And the other TP where I've got sweet peas is the same. Are the other good? There are actually more goods than bads. The parsnips are up and at 'em really well now. That's quite a nice bed of parsnips, so we will have parsnips in the end. We've got a lot more germination than I thought we had. Also good is all the squash plants are starting to grow really nicely. We're getting quite a few squash. The difficulty is finding them with the camera. I think there it is. There's one. The sweet potato plants are getting away. They are growing, funnily enough, but I don't know that they're going to do anything. I'm pretty certain they should be much further along than that by now if we were going to get anything. One of the bads. Had a lot of lettuces go to seed while I was gone. It got so hot, it was inevitable. But I've still got all my little tom thumb lettuces, one of which is coming in for lunch today. Another good. Here's my sweet corn is now doing things properly. We've got quite a lot of cobs on there, and I'm periodically giving them a little hand by trying to do this with one hand, shaking the tops to encourage the pollen off. Again, more lettuces that were interplanted in here. Gone to seed, big style. Gone to seed, big style. So the chickens will have that. I'll just pull them out every now and again. And the chickens will be very appreciative of some gone to seed lettuces. It's so high, it's nearly as high as the sweet corn. We'll get them out. But the corn's doing brilliant. It's probably about 5 feet tall by now. Anyway, yeah, sweet corn's doing brilliant. The squash are doing brilliant. Parsnips are doing brilliant. Some lettuces gone to seed. Some lettuces doing alright. One of them, for some strange reason down here, has decided to go to seed as well. More squash in here. We've just had our first squash yesterday actually. Even my patty pan one down there. It's got a baby. There's a golden yellow one down there. Let's see if we can get in closer. It's a very upright courgette. And then just nestling down there are the first few patty pans that are coming along quite nicely actually. Aye, they look good. Well, do you remember when I put it in I was worried because it just seemed to sit there at about 12 inches high and not do anything. But it's not doing now. And there are a lot of cobs in there. I don't know if you can see. But they're everywhere, there's loads. They're doing really well this year. So fingers crossed, this netting that I've got around all the sides will stop any unwanted creatures from getting in there and nicking my sweet corn. That one's just about to start flowering. So we've got them at quite a lot of varied stages, but they're doing really well. So sweet peas, glorious. I'm going to do a mass pick. The living room is going to be full of sweet peas in about an hour. So let's move on. What's next? Let's go down here. Brassicas are doing much better than last time I reported to you on them. The sprouts have now finally decided they're going to get going. So they're on the way up. And I have hopes that they will be fine for Christmas. The dwarf curly kale, I'm going to start picking some of that. We'll have some of that for lunch I think. Some kale and tomatoes and eggs for lunch. The kohlrabi, some of those are ready for eating from the first sowing. I've got this one here that's got a big split in it. So that's going to come in first and I'll get what I can off it. So I've got purple kohlrabi here and I've just got, for some reason, only one of the light green ones there. But I have also got some more in over here somewhere, and some fennel, and a lot of weeds, and some volunteer potatoes. And the celeriac is looking better than it has ever looked, so I have hopes for that as well. And then those are my cabbages, I do believe, down there. I think they're April. I can't remember which cabbages. I'd have to go back to my list to tell you what the cabbages are, but they're doing all right. Shall we have a look at something the wild? That's the other sweet pea teepee that has collapsed a bit, so I'm going to have to try and lift that, straighten that, because it's definitely on the wonk. The weight of them has pulled it over, so we'll have to do a little bit of adjusting in there to get those back up. I'm going to take a little bit of rigging. This is the wild. This is what happens when you don't tend to your tomato house for 1 week. 1 week. I need to get in here. There are a lot of tomatoes in here, but I do need to get in here. And chickens have been in here as well, scratching around. I've got lots of tomatoes going on everywhere. Everywhere. But I do need to get in here. And we've got lots of suckers everywhere. And tame them, basically. This corner's a bit tamer. Oh dear, look, that one's fallen and broken. Oh no! Bear with me. Emergency surgery. Okay, a small bit of emergency surgery later. And it's still attached by the very smallest margin. But it does look like it's all been carrying on growing up here, so let's get rid of that sucker. Bear with me, it might get wobbly. I'm on one hand. Oh, that went well. What I've done differently in here this year, you've all seen me before with the cane tickling all the tomatoes, giving them all a little, trying to encourage pollination. I've not done that this year. I've left the doors open and just let the bugs in. And yeah, better. I'm seeing suckers just everywhere. This is going to be a big job this afternoon. I've got so many other things to do today. But in here, although somewhat wild, is a pretty amazing, really, isn't it? And there are thousands of tomatoes in here this year. It's going to be as long as the blight stays away, and that's one of the reasons I need to get in here to do the taming of the tomatoes. It's going to be a big job. There are tomatoes everywhere. So I need to get in here, do the taming of the tomatoes. I'm going to have to be systematic about it and not rush it, because I don't want to break any of the plants. Oh, suckers everywhere. Everywhere I look there's suckers. It is like a wall of green. It is a wall of green with a wall of tomatoes growing on them. So that's good. And some of these plants are much more vigorous than others. If I could remember which ones I put where, I'll be able to work it out. I will. I just need to find them. Ooh! Do you want to see what I've just seen? Get you to see them. Look at that. Those are doing really well. Hey! Nice one. More babies on the same plants further up. That should be cool. Oh, that's really encouraging, that is. I'm very happy with that. Oh yeah, that's a nice truss of tomatoes. Looks like every flower on that truss was pollinated. These are doing so well. I'm really pleased. Oh my god, I can't wait to find out what they all are. It's just Tommies everywhere. Very exciting. Yeah, so we've done brassicas. Oh, the asparagus is doing really well. I did plant a squash one at either end of the bed, and they're doing really well. I thought for this year it'd be fine. I won't do it next year. It'll be purely asparagus next year. But as instructed by sage, wise people and advice on the internet and all that stuff, they're just being left for this year. Next year I'm going to improve the way I string them so that the 2 rows can be held a bit more upright. Oh, those sweet peas. Sweet corn's pleased me greatly. My onions in their very weedy patch. I promise you it wasn't this weedy when I left. It's blinking ridiculous. But they're doing, despite the weeds, they are doing really well. They're getting to a good size. These are the Japanese ones that I'm putting in the autumn. And you know what? I think I might do them again. Oh, God, I need to weed. This bed is going to take me a while to weed. And the old garlic bed as well, yeah. Okay, so I think you're getting the picture. That I have an awful lot of work to do. I'm going to come around here. I don't know, do I start with trimming or do I start with weeding? Because you can guarantee one's going to get a lot worse before it gets better. This was the minor disaster. It's a minor disaster, I think. They look worse than they are. The potatoes. I left them here. I forgot to tell Charlie to water them while I was away, and it got 27 degrees around here for several days on the trot, and so you can imagine that the potatoes are not great. Some of them are doing better than others. Some of them are... I might as well just think about emptying them, I think. Let's have a look. I told you it was going to be a warts and all video, didn't I? Did I tell you it was going to be a warts and all video? It's a warts and all video. Let's look. Ready? Sheesh. Is that a disaster or is that a disaster? Now, not blight. Let me say that straight up. No black spots on anything. Not blight. They simply didn't get watered for several days when the temperatures were ridiculous. Those ones are doing better at the back there. And so the foliage has died back. I'm pretty confident that the potatoes underneath are going to be fine. I'm going to remove the foliage and just leave them for a little bit. These ones are perking up. They were much worse than this yesterday. So the watering I gave them yesterday, I'm going to water them again now. The watering I gave them yesterday has helped, I think. But those are the pink fir apple. So, and out the back there were the King Edwards and the Maris Pipers. And there's Jazzy. I've put Jazzy in the pool so that they can get watered. They look sorry for themselves, don't they? But they're looking better than they looked last night. And we've got a bucket down, people. Bucket down. Let's stand it back up again. Which ones are they? Jazzy. So there's some buckets of the small buckets at the back there are Jazzy. Oh my word, my poor potatoes. They were looking amazing when I left, and then I've come back to this decimation. I'm going to get those out of there in a minute and whack some of another variety and see if... I'm trying to just get them some moisture, basically. Get them out in a sec. Can't find my sprinkler, so that's what happened in here last night. The beans have not been great. Not the cobra, although... despite this mess that is supposed to be cobra beans down here, I did pick beans off them yesterday. Peas are doing actually quite well. I'm going to do another late sowing before too long. And I did quite a nice harvest of peas yesterday, and there's still lots and lots of pods on there. And on those beans, those are Greek Gigantes beans that are up at the top of the archway now. Nearly. They'll go all the way over. And there's plenty of beans on them. Let's see if I can show you. You should, yeah. So there's plenty of beans on them now. So they're getting away. And you just leave those until the pods are dried and you take them in. and harvest your beans out of them. So not bad. That's the worst area, that whatever it was that got in here and dug everything up, and it's not recovered. Some of the cobra are getting away, but not very many. And then we've got down this end, down this end, we've got the Enama beans, and I can't see any that have set yet. These Cosmos, you can tell, dried out completely. They're perking up again now. I need to deadhead them. That's definitely a job that I'll do in a moment. Give them a chance. These were left in trays on there, which is full of Mersetail fern and weeds, and there's some dahlias in trays there. The dahlias are going out today. I'm in the middle of weeding. That grey trough has got all the weeds that I'm pulling out. And I'm just going to try. Some of them will be on top, obviously, dead. So they're for the compost. But some of them have still got some life in them. So I'm going to plant them in that bed for see what happens. If we get an Indian summer, you never know. They might be perfect, just what we need. And the dahlias are going in here as well. I'll probably put the dahlias across the front here, and then the sunflowers across the back. I need to clear out this willow. I hate the willow. I've just cleared one out. Right, let's see if we can get in here. The greenhouse. First of all, it's a mess again. Second of all, my poor peppers. But for all this horrendous neglect, and I'll water them in a moment, I promise, they've got more bits of things on them than I've ever had. I must have picked that off and forgotten to take it in a week ago, so it's been baking in here, so it's sort of a semi-sun-dried. Look at my tomatoes. Who knows? That one's coming back, that basket. And they definitely look better than they did yesterday. That one on the floor down there that's in the water at the moment. Yeesh. And look at all the tomatoes they had on them. Loads and loads and loads and loads and loads of tomatoes. And these were tumbling toms. And I only put one plant in each basket. And it looks like I have or would have had many, many more tomatoes off just 3 plants than I had off 12 last year when I put 3 plants in each basket. So there's a lesson learnt for next year. And these are also looking sorry for themselves because they shouldn't have been here in all that heat really, but they should have been put outside, but I didn't tell Charlie to do that, so that's my fault. But look, I watered them yesterday and they've got new growth in them, so they're quite sturdy really, they'll be fine. I just need to work with them. I need to get rid of all this willow that I've just cut off that other bush. Cut that one down that's out there. Weed that. Plant those. Pick those. There's some courgettes ready to be picked. Get some of the lettuce out of that bed and give it to the chickens. I think that'll do me for today. Yeah. Oh, and swap the potatoes round in the water. We've come up into the shed. I need to gather my thoughts. There's an awful lot to do. But I think I have a better idea now of what I'm going to do and what order I'm doing it in. So that's going to be my day full, isn't it? I'll crack on in a minute and do all that. Told you it was going to be warts and all. It's gone wild in 1 week. So I'm going to go now and carry on with the weeding. Get those poor plants in that half of them have died and a few of them have still got a bit of life. Get the dahlias in. Everything's so late. I'm so late. It's been one of those years. But hey, front garden's looking beautiful. I bought quite a few new plants to put in there, which I've been quite excited about. And we are in the middle of planning how the whole front garden is going to get terraced and planted up and stuff. It's going to be a huge cottage garden. It's going to be terraced all the way down to the front in quite wavy terraces. So I don't like straight lines, despite the straight lines in. I like straight lines in my vegetable garden. In my cottage garden at the front, no straight lines. So we're in the middle of planning all that, and work should start on that. We're hoping to get the big patio done that's going to be at the side of the conservatory done this year. And then next year we're hoping that we will do the front and back bits of that patio, and hopefully start doing the terracing. But it's a lot of work. It's going to be a very big job, and we're doing it ourselves. So it's going to take time. I can't be in a rush about it. It's just going to be the way it is. It will evolve as time goes by. It's amazing how much your garden can get away from you in just a week. You think you've left it tidy, because I weeded all of that 1 week ago. I picked every single sweet pea flower before we went away, and I trimmed all the paths, and it looks like I haven't done a thing. So I shall start all over again today by getting those nearly dead plants into the ground and giving them a good watering. And then I shall, what did I say was next? Oh, swap the potatoes over in that pond, in the pool, so that they can get a drink. And hopefully, because they dried out so much, the soil, it just wasn't, the compost wasn't holding water, so I had to do that to be able to get them to hold some water. So I think I'm going to stick the pink fir apple in next, but only for a couple of hours, and then I'll swap them over to something else that's looking worse. Let's see where we go. And I'll find the Pentland Javelin and probably get them out, because they should be okay by now. I harvested 1 bucket before we went away because I took some with me. And some of my homegrown onions as well. Today I'm going to see how far I get that bed done, because I think I can get that done fairly quickly. And maybe get some of the strimming in some of the worst areas done, because some of it's not too terrible. The path's not too terrible because I took that right down. The tile path isn't too terrible, but the other paths then do need strimming, so I might trim the worst bits and see how it goes. Sorry, I'm looking at the garden trying to remind myself what I've told myself I need to do. It'll be fine. I'm going to go and start. Otherwise it won't get done, will it, if I don't start? First foot forward is the way to start a journey. So I will say thank you for watching. I hope you have enjoyed seeing the result of a week away. And I will come back to you in another video when I've done it all, and you can see it when it's looking tidy again. I've also got a lot of plant pots to clean up. I've just strewn them everywhere. Anyway, I'm off. Thank you so much for watching. It has been my pleasure as always. I do hope I'll see you next time, when you can see the results of my cleaning and tidying and picking and strimming and strumming and tidying. And we'll see if those tomatoes in the hanging baskets came back or not. Bye bye for now. See you next time.